Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today on the Collaborative Minds. Um, it's our fourth episode. Yeah. And I'm just so thankful that you're here. Well, did I get your attention? All that I was trying to do was to show how ineffective communication looks like. So let me start all over again. Thank you all for joining us today. I'm so excited to have you all here. Today we're going to talk like heaps and bounds on how communication can impact our life and how we can get better in this skill and do better in our everyday life. I just want to welcome you all and thank you for engaging just the way you did in all of our previous sessions. And I'm looking forward to your feedback, your comments as we progress through the session. So please feel free to let us know where you joining us from, what are you excited about, and also feel free to shoot your questions and we'll address them by the end of the session. And sorry, apologies for the delay, but that was also an example of how ineffective communication looks like. So, without any further ado, let us welcome our guest for today, Alexandra Egan. I'm so excited to have you here with us, Alexandra. So,
Hi,
Alexandra,
Vandana.
hi. So, let's go through your introduction real quick. Alexandra is the founder and owner of Domino Effect Consulting. She's supporting leaders to build their communication skills to help develop their people. From managing a call center within the finance industry to managing thousands of prisoners in one of the state's largest male dominated prison to managing teams as front house leader for one of the Australia's largest government departments. The fact that she has faced with many challenges at times, life-threatening situations, has highlighted how critically important effective communication really is to be able to connect deeply with someone, earn their trust, and influence their decision. With a passion for communication and an interest in developing people, Alexandra specializes in breaking down communication barriers, clearing out the blockages, and developing people. She has built a solid reputation as a straight shooter who gets the results and the job done. Her mantra in life is I see potential in every human being I meet and truly believe that we are not fully formed, rather, we all are a work in progress. What a wonderful introduction. Thank you, lovely. Thank you, Alex. It's a pleasure to be on the show with you. We welcome you.
Thank you, Vandana. Thank you, Vandana. And it's such a pleasure to be here and an honour to be here. And I appreciate the incredible introduction. It was amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. The pleasure is all mine. And I see that we have a lot of viewers joining in already. There are tons of comments. Everybody's welcoming you and are
Oh,
excited
wonderful.
and are excited to learn so much from you about communication. It's something that everybody relates to. So
Absolutely.
the first question for you today, Alex, is that when did you truly realize the power of communication?
Yeah. Vandana, I became aware of how powerful communication really is when I led a team in a call centre very many years ago now. That was a long time ago. And it became even more apparent to me when I worked in the prison system. And the reason for that is because I needed to learn quickly how to adjust everything about me for my own safety specifically. And that was quite a learning curve for me. You know, I've always had a passion for human behaviour. I've always had a passion for human behaviour, communication, connection, and influence from a very young age. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you now. I think there's bad and we're trying to sort it.
Terrific.
But I
Awesome. However, while in the prison system, I noticed even more the importance of getting communication right. You know, I noticed and observed offenders' reactions to certain people, but then even observed their reactions to me. And so I really didn't have any problems with them at that point per se, because I was able to become more aware of my communication.
Mm. Wow, that's such an environment work in managing the call center and working with the prison. Now, just for a who hasn't been in that situation before, what was your perception when you decided to work with a dominant prison?
Sorry, Vandana, you're cutting in and out. Can you repeat the question, please?
So my question to you is that what was your perception when you were about to the male-dominated? Did you have a perception?
I did. I was absolutely petrified. I remember when I was first offered the position, and in fact it was only meant to be a very temporary position. I had just stepped down from leading 2 officers, and I wanted to do something different. And when they said to me, hey, you know, there's a position going out at the prison, I think you'd be really great at it given you've just sort of stepped down from leadership. Would you like to give it a go? My initial reaction was, yeah, I'll give anything a go. And then as I walked away, I thought, prison? Oh, hang on a minute. Okay, tell me more. You know, and I started to become quite scared actually, because, you know, we all have this notion, this perception, society builds this thing for us in prison systems, particularly for a young woman, you know. I was a little bit younger than I am now back then. And so, you know, walking into a male dominant prison was quite confronting in the beginning. Absolutely.
I can only imagine. I mean, and to talk about you look still so young. So radiant.
Oh, thank you.
Think about when somebody offered you that and said that, would you like to join? That enthusiasm in you, go ahead and join it. When we take a step back, think about it. The fears are real.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, they started to creep in from, I guess, from everything that we hear, you know, from the perceptions that we have. But then it was even more than that. It was even, and then it started to hit home. What about my family, my kids? What will happen? All of these things, safety, you know, will I be looked after? And then after fear, I then started to get excited. I remember driving up the very long driveway of the correctional centre. I was with my predecessor, so the person who I was filling, or I was meant to be filling in for. And I said to her, Jen, I said, lock the doors, I'm petrified. And she said, Alex, they're behind the fence. So even that in itself, perception is quite an incredibly powerful thing, isn't it? And then once you're in there and you start to understand and embrace, because it's the unknown, right? When we're in the unknown, we don't understand, we don't know what to expect. Once I was there, things started to change. It was incredible.
Thank you so much for sharing. It takes that inner strength to let that fear calm down, to let the fear subside, to go past it and allow it to experience the situation.
Yes.
And then over there, how was communicating with someone who has been through such a life?
Yeah, I'm sort of reading between the lines right now, Vandana, because you're sort of cutting in and out. But I'm guessing just please correct me if I'm wrong, the experience that they had and the communication, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and I'm so sorry that the voice is breaking. And
that's okay.
I want to let you know that there was technical glitch and we had to connect to Alex. So we hope you all are to us clearly. But Alex, the question was, the voice is breaking. Voice is breaking for everyone. So, let me try moving from the screen and get back. Let's try. I hope it's better now.
Oh, it is. I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
This is a session on communication. You want to hear clearly.
Oh, that's okay. Look, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Okay.
So
So,
the question I had was, people in the prison, they had been through such adverse situations in their. How was it for you to, break the barrier and get through to them while communicating?
yeah, great question. And you're right. People in the prison had been through different experiences in their life, different adversities and everything. But here's the thing, from my perspective, initially, I guess I was quite scared, as I said to you. But what I noticed is as I started to understand the situation even more, I started to create those relationships almost automatically. Now, here's the thing though, Vandana, it takes awareness, self-awareness. So it's really about knowing ourselves so deeply that we're able to readjust our communication style, not just what we say, but our whole body, to be able to fit in and to create that rapport and trust. Now, I guess one thing I did realise, and looking back now, even just writing my last book, and I've just started another one about that, is noticing how and observing, listening to how they communicate, observing also what's not being said, because, in the prison system, there's a lot of silence, there's a lot of body language, there's a lot of signage, if you like. So that's how they communicate, a lot of body language. So I really very quickly had to learn how to read body language for my own safety, but also how to fit in with them in their world, because it was their world after all that I was invited into. So I needed to readjust me to create that rapport and connection with them and bring my human. That's so important. And leave judgment outside. One thing I never did is judge. They were already judged. That was not my position to judge. My position and my role was to help them and listen to them, regardless of who they were, what they did. So it's allowing and being, I think, emotionally intelligent enough to leave opinion and judgment at the door.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of our viewers that most of the times people think that others will accept me the way I am, and seldom do we think how I want to change and adapt to the situation I'm presented to. So the key point made that leave go and be ready to adapt to their and give them that place where they are heard, and you're not listening to judge. That's such a powerful. Now,
absolutely. I just want to thank you for acknowledging that, Vandana. I'm sorry to interject there. This is actually relevant to every single leader, every single customer service officer, everyone and anyone who interacts with any other human being. Often when we're leading, or even in my role as a prison liaison officer back then when I was in the prison, and any leadership role, sometimes you have that handover where you have a little bit of a briefing about this person and that person and this person. One thing I've always done, and I'm very proud of, is I listen, but I prefer to, I guess, get to know that person myself, because people's prior opinions really don't matter to me. I need to be able to build that rapport with someone. The experience they've had is their problem, not mine. So the thing is, it's about taking it on board in terms of just in case, because, you've got to keep in mind, particularly in that environment, we're talking about a prison now, so it's not a restaurant. So it's really about being mindful of who I will be interacting with. However, again, it's reserving judgment and building that relationship with myself and them rather than a third taking, a hearsay. So that should happen in every environment.
That's wonderful. And just said that not taking other judgments on, listening to, being respectful to what others are letting us know, but allowing yourself to experience it for yourself.
Yeah.
That's cool. And I see that people are that it's wonderful to see that how value for all of us. We all want to be accepted, definitely, but we also need to understand others as well.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Now, next question is, through all of your experience in the call center, with the prisoners, would you say communication is an art?
You know, I absolutely love that question. I really, really do. It gets me really excited because my answer to that question is absolutely it is. It really, truly is. Now, like artists, you know, they use their hands and their mind to create incredible things, don't they? Well, so does communication. Now, communication is beautiful and it's an expression. It is an art. And for us to be able to do it effectively, we need to be able to use our whole body, including our vocals, to get the right outcome, just like an artist does. So yeah, communication is an art. Now, our vocals plays an absolutely major role in effective communication. And, for those of you who aren't aware, 38% of effective communication is based on how we talk and not so much what we say. So it's how we deliver something. 2-3 people can say the same thing, yet in how it's delivered makes the difference. So effective communication is an art. It means getting curious, really looking beyond the surface of things. You know, those things that we were talking about a minute ago, to reserve judgment and explore everything, detail, big picture, the whole kit and caboodle. Effective communication takes passion and drive, so regardless of how you feel, regardless of how much time you think you have or don't have as a leader or whoever it is that you are, it's in how we show up. It's a labour of love, Vandana, it's openness. It's been open-minded. It's being willing to try new things and have new thinking. We need to create new thinking and be comfortable with feedback. That's key, and taking advice from unexpected sources. Now, my journey within the prison system, I listened to effective feedback always. It was really important because, and I don't mean that just verbally. I also noticed the feedback with body language. If I noticed maybe someone was moving backwards, it meant I said something or did something to make them feel either agitated, uncomfortable or something. So I would ask. Or I would do something so that we could then rebuild that rapport. So communication is an art because it's also problem solving. Just like an artist uses problem solving, so does communication. And what that means is that it's about thinking inductively, and finding ways of getting our message across to make things work. It's creative, producing something amazing, something brilliant, so that everything, all the pieces fit together. Wow. And it's so much more than that, if I may share. I get really excited, as you can see.
See, it lights you up. See the passion out of you. Please continue. This is a lot of gold. Please do continue.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Communication is also patience. Giving up is not on. Communication is about designing our communication slowly, thinking things through and putting the puzzle, the pieces together so that we can create that work of art, and remembering that there are alternatives as well for us to get a result. So when we see different things, when we notice movement, when we maybe notice that we've broken rapport, we need to very swiftly come in and fill that gap with another form of communication. And again, it doesn't have to be verbal. It can be anything. It can be, vocal. It can be the way that you look at somebody, the way in which you deliver your body movements, all of that. That's what I've learned over the years. I've experimented over the years. In the 10 years of my prison servicing, I interviewed more than 29,000 prisoners. It was incredible. And I experimented. I asked loads of questions. I observed reactions, what worked, what didn't, what pissed them off, what didn't. I watched body language, and it was extraordinarily mind-blowing for me. And so it's listening and observing to what's not being said. It goes hand in hand.
This, all that you share, I start list those things down. I definitely do a post on listing all of them down. So much gold in that.
Thank you.
to our viewers, I mean, it's not just uh, talking, how we're saying it, and effective communication is not as much through words, but it's through being, and which you are communicating so effectively right now, Alex.
Oh, thank you.
Because I've seen definitely say you're a really good observer. You have allowed yourself to know all 29 persons that you work with and all the there's so much that we learn from every individual. So having the opportunity to be exposed to so many people and picking up their communication, the nuance of communication, that must have been such a huge learning. And I really appreciate you sharing.
Yeah, absolutely it was. But it was also listening to my body too, because that in itself is communication. You know, if I ever felt maybe a little bit uneasy, I needed to tap into that and understand why. I remember there were a couple of very hairy moments where I really did not feel right. So I needed to understand where that was coming from and trust my body, because our body talks to us as well. Our body communicates to us in so many different ways. We've just got to learn to listen to it as well. So it's not just communicating with other people, but it's also listening to ourselves as well, our body language, so that we can then readjust to be able to reconnect and rebuild that rapport with people. And I learned that quite quickly as well. It was an incredible journey, and I have to say I do miss that time quite a lot.
Thank you for sharing that important point, which, and I'm sure our viewers will agree. Sometimes we do pay attention to how we communicate with others, but when it comes to communicating with ourselves, we might not be as mindful. We are preoccupied in thinking what they're thinking, and tend to not pay as much attention or what our body's trying to do. So it's really important. And thanks for brings me to my next question. Is there an easy way to increase our influence
as leaders?
As leaders, as a person, is there an easy way to increase influence, to get more and more people to like me?
Absolutely. I love that. So here's the thing. I just want to use a contrast here. Influence is not making someone do something. Influence is not trying to convince someone of something or persuade them, right? So you've got to, this is one thing that people, and again, through learning, I've learned this over the years, but influencing comes automatically, believe it or not, once we get the communication and the connection right. So we start to influence from the moment we see the person whom we're about to communicate and interact with. That in itself is already starting the influence process, okay? Because we're building that rapport. So influence starts from there. Once we get the communication right and the connection down packed, then everything sort of flows from there. People will just do things for you if they believe in you. So, I mean, I've experienced that quite a lot, obviously, over the years in my leadership space, but also in my prison space. I've had to influence many prisoners to be able to take action, to answer questions for me, because I had to, with those prisoners, part of my role was, running seminars once a week as a bulk in a room full of maybe 80 to 100 prisoners, but then it was also interviewing them one-on-one for an hour. So it was really asking them some deep, meaningful, quite private questions. So how do you influence someone to be able to give you that information willingly? Well, it's about building that rapport and communicating so that they like you, so that they know that you actually care about them, that they matter. That's where influence comes from. So it's not about getting your own way or just making someone do something for you and using authority. That's never going to work. I'm telling you, it's just never going to work. It's bringing a human and creating that connection to start with, and then influence. I can almost guarantee, in my experience, that it just comes naturally in any relationship, by the way.
Love that. Love that. much wisdom coming out. Oh my goodness. So it's not about making someone something else, but it's us coming from care,
Yes.
seeing the for who he is, who, accepting them and then taking them along. It's coming from a place that I'm here to listen to you, to give you the way, show you the way that needs to be done, and create that space where they themselves choose to be if they need to, if they have to, but not taking them to get it. I love
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like any conversation, Vandana, isn't it? Really. I mean, I suppose if we want an outcome because any conversation we have, and thank you for saying that, because what you said was absolutely 100%. And, any conversation we have, any interaction, we're having it for a reason. We want a result somewhat, right? Whether it's talking to our kids to wash the dishes, whether it's asking hubby to cook tea, whether it's going to Safeway, whatever, right? The thing is, how do you build that rapport to be able to get the right outcome? And so to be able to do that really is, I believe, from my experience, our responsibility. So if you're the one that wants the result, you're the one that needs to bring it. End of story. You need to bring it. You need to be able to adjust you and know you enough to be able to get the result you want. And that could take time. If you're rushing and if you want something done yesterday, today, whatever, in demand, it's not going to happen. It's not going to be authentic. And that's not influence, by the way. So you're going to break some relationships. There's going to be conflict. There's going to be misunderstandings, disengagement, disconnection. Is that the relationship you really want to build?
Yes, all of us are responsible, as Alex just mentioned, taking that responsibility, not putting the blame on others, above the line, and not love that.
That's right.
I have for you, Alex. Like, we'll probably do another session for this, but our viewers here have a lot of questions already. So,
oh wow,
I'm going to start accepting. So this one is, during your time in prison, emotionally and mentally transfer while communicating such complex emotions. How do you tackle
wow.
this?
What a wonderful question. Thank you so much for asking. I really appreciate you asking that. The answer to that is no, never. I really didn't. I was so passionate. I couldn't wait for Tuesday morning to get to work and get my bag and pack it all up and head on down. It was wonderful because the way, if I may answer your question this way, the way I looked at it is, whose life can I change today? So I would jump in my car with the intention of, these particular people have experienced something. Now, they were there for a reason. The thing is, no one wakes up in the morning with the intention to harm or hurt anybody. In our minds, most people, most humans, think that their intention is the best intention. So my intention was to get there and to do whatever I could to communicate to them in a way where I could potentially influence their thinking for them to be able to take a different step when they were released. So was I drained? No. In fact, I remember I had to take 6 weeks off because I had a major operation and I was still working from home because I missed it so much. So no drained, not at all.
Oh. That's
I love it.
And the passion comes out through genuine care, that you really make a difference in people's life by just being there and sharing that sharing that light that you have within you. You see, there's a light within them.
Absolutely. You said that so beautifully, because you know what? When you start to treat people as human beings and don't have a hidden agenda, people automatically connect with you. They really do, no matter who they are, truly, no matter who they are. When we start to treat them, though, the way, in a judgmental way, they react that way, right? So the relationships we have is a reflection of the relationship we have with ourselves and also what we tell ourselves. And so the thing is, when we come across and when we create our body to communicate in a way that's peaceful, that's open, no judgment, absolutely authentic, people actually reflect and respond in the same way. It may take some time because of their fear of their previous experience, but it's about, well, myself in that case, breaking down those barriers for them and having to build that trust with them to show them that I'm not like everybody else. We're all different. So I'm here to actually listen to you without an agenda.
Just the way you said that, it just calmed me down.
Oh.
I'm sure I was like the same. If you're present and you're listening, the rapport, the way you feel the same emotions.
Absolutely.
Receive it. That's beautiful.
Absolutely. Thank you.
One more question that I saw here. Communication skills important for a good doctor-patient relationship while treating a distressed patient. What do you say, Alexandra?
Now, I'm just going to read that again. Communication, it's very little, I can't see, is for a doctor. Sorry.
Yeah, so communication is important to the patient relationship. A distressed patient. What do you have to say about it?
Yeah. Thank you for asking the question. So like anything, distressed patient, distressed customer, distressed whoever, it's about creating a safe space, firstly. Acknowledging and validating them straight away is really, really key. As they walk into your office, into a room, it's about noticing how they're presenting firstly and being able to match that. If they're feeling uneasy, you will notice it in their physiology. And so it's really up to you as a professional to be able to break down those barriers to help them feel comfortable. Of course, they're distressed. There's a lot going on in their world. And so it's really about, being able to create that safe space with your language, with your body, bring in your mother archetype. It's about stepping into different archetypes. It's about stepping into different roles, if you will, to be able to create that love and that safe space for them to feel comfortable and calm them as well. Because believe it or not, it doesn't matter how angry or how distressed somebody is, you can, with your body language, make them feel at ease and comfortable. I trust that's answered your question.
It definitely answered for me. There's something more that you have, as you rightly said, it's bringing them to an energy level for them. It's
yes.
them first to build rapport, and then bringing the certainty if that's what's needed.
That's exactly right. Yeah, very well articulated, Vandana. I love that.
Thank you so much. Let's go through if there are any more questions. Okay, there's one more from Varun. What, as per you, is effective written communication and communication in general, especially in a world emails and social media have replaced a lot of human interaction and conversations?
Wow, that is such a relevant question right now. Well done for asking it, truly. That again comes back to being able to read and know people so well that you can pick up keywords and phrases so that you know how to respond. I mean, unfortunately, I can't answer that just in one little bit. I'm running a training on Tuesday, which actually will cover this. But it's really about knowing and picking up on their keywords so that you know how to answer back. So, for example, if they, if they use kinesthetic language, then you respond in kinesthetic language or emotional language. If they're very direct and straightforward, you respond the same as well. If there may be a little, AD as we call it, so very technical in their speech, then you respond that way too, because that then matches. If they say kind regards, you respond with kind regards. If someone says kind regards, you're not going to respond with much love, because that's a disconnect right there. So it's really about reading and being mindful of the words they use and use similar words that is the same energy. I trust that makes sense, because that then connects. If someone texts you and they put one kiss, you put one kiss too. Do not put two crosses, you put one. So it's really about being mindful of the intricate stuff that will continue the connection in your communication, rather than putting something you think and that's going to break it, because in their mind, one kiss, or does that make sense? One cross, kind regards, it matches. Don't disconnect. I trust that's answered your question.
What an amazing answer. Just in my head that I didn't do this before about communication, that building rapport, written communication as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, just the example about kind regards and someone responding with much love or cheers, it's not going to be the same. That was a wonderful answer.
That's right. Thank you.
This question and just questions are coming back. I guess this is going to be our last question of time. So this is a question from Mona. Mona. Anyway, so going to the question. She's saying, I'm a primary school teacher. I believe communication is the primary skill to be taught in schools as well. It is extremely important for children effective communication right from their childhood. Any suggestions on how to develop effective communication skills from children?
Great question. And you know what? I think effective communication should be something that is learned in school, but firstly by the teachers. And I say that, like anything, any leader, any teacher, any parent, it starts from there, because we model those people, right? We model people who are in authority. I believe that every effective communication starts with the teacher, and then it sort of ripples from there. So I can go so far with this right now. So in terms of how the teacher responds and communicates will depend on how the child or the student responds to that. So for example, if I may use one, I'm just remembering back to my children's time in school. My children are now old and they've got their own kids, but when my son was at school, I remember he put his hand up to give an opinion on something because of what the teacher said, and she sent him to detention because he actually challenged her thinking, and she sent him out the door. That in itself communicates that there is no, that my son or children are not allowed to have an opinion. She may not have said that you're not allowed to have an opinion, but that communicates that. Should she have said, wow, Anthony, that's incredible. Thank you for your point of view and your perspective. I really appreciate that. How can we use that, do you think? That communicates different. Again, it communicates, wow, she loved my opinion. I matter. I'm important here. And it's okay for me to give my opinion and feedback. So to answer your question, it starts with you, the teacher. What response do you want? You need to set up your communication so that you get the response that you want.
Beautiful answer. Yet another. My goodness. Everybody's loving your energy.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate your support. Thank you, everyone.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. And this, thank you so much, Alex, for gracing us with your presence, and all the wisdom. And these are all practical tools in our day-to-day lives. This is all about how to make everyday life better. So I'm sure all the viewers and viewers today, all of them attending, are going to watch replay, are benefit so much from all that you share.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
And to all the viewers, thank you for joining and thank you for engaging the way you did. Alex is also going to be having a workshop really soon. Alex, would you like to share something about that workshop?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you. So on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, I'm running a 2-hour paid workshop where I delve deep into advanced communication skills. So how to pick up key phrases, key words, how to really connect with your team, your people. We go deep into so many different strategies and techniques on advanced effective communication. So if you're free that night, I'd love for you to join me there. It would be fantastic.
Wonderful. So feel free to reach out to Alex if you have questions. Feel free to enroll for the having on Tuesday. And I'm just going to stream now. There he is.
Hi, Alex.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, excellent. I feel wonderful having two beautiful ladies on both the side.
Thank you so much. I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you for today, and I'd like to say thank you to all the viewers and listeners too. It's been incredible, and I appreciate your support and you being here today.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. And on the backstage, I was listening and I was understanding. Even I do have one question.
Sure.
You are in Australia, I'm in Mexico, and many of the listeners are in India. So now, how we are going to use this technology to pass our knowledge? And if we use it wonderfully, or if we use it effectively, how we can impact in this world, how we can create an impact. Any thoughts?
Sorry for what do you mind just rephrasing your question,
Yes,
please?
let me rephrase it. Yeah,
that would be terrific.
So how this technology, communication technology, is going to impact this world? Because we all have a knowledge, but it is not collective knowledge. Yeah? So how this technology will impact?
So are you talking about, from what I could be wrong here, is it about the cultural differences as well? So because communication is quite huge, isn't it? It's a broad, yes. So the best way to answer that question, and if I don't answer it, please let me know, because I really want to serve you here, is that it's really about asking questions to understand so that we can get our point across. It's okay to ask a lot of questions to get to know what the person wants so that we hit the mark with them and we don't leave them hanging and unserved. I think it's important for us to always bring a servant's heart.
Okay, so I wanted to make a point that we have started this, and this is only our 4th episode together.
Right.
And we would like to create an impact with a guest like you. And today we have only 20-25 viewers, and I was watching from the back end. And I would like to call you once again when more than 1,000, 2,000 people watches us online like television show, and get benefit out of you.
Oh, that would be
thinking.
I would love that. That would be that. Wow, I feel honored. Absolutely.
And how to achieve that, that's what I am striving for, like how to achieve such kind of effective communication with use of technology, with use of people, those who would like to give something, like you want to give sometimes selflessly, and you have experience. There are many people who would like to give, but they are not having experience. They have not seen the life. The second thing is they want to give, but they are not technologically enabled. Technology. I think we know before 20 minutes we were struggling to bring you online. You have found your phone, you have switched on, and we are now talking with each other.
Right.
Those who are technically enabled and with the experience, I think they will create a huge difference in this world.
Yeah. So I guess it's knowing and understanding how they like to be, how they like to learn as well. That's really important. And asking them, I suppose, what knowledge they have and how they like to communicate, and communicate that way. We don't necessarily have to use what we're using now. We can use something else and still get our point out there all over the world, can't we?
Correct. Yeah, true.
Yeah. And wonderful questions. Wonderful questions. I love what you said about. It's about asking what you want from us and serve and being authentic while doing that. So not to mask something completely different that you're not, but being authentic and still serving them, answering the questions. That's what brings it gets the wider reach.
Correct.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. Even Vandana, we've been talking once, that you are expanding your reach. Even though being in Australia, you are serving the clients in Middle East and India. So
Oh, how beautiful
I
is
think
that?
geography is not a boundary.
Inside. That is beautiful.
Darshan, and thank you, Circle of Legends, for being provided that platform. And glitches happen, technical issues keep coming, but it's again the intent. At least our intent it's pure, and all that we do here is bring all of this wisdom to as we possibly can, with the single and sole purpose to make someone's everyday life better.
Absolutely. And technology isn't what connects. It's not the only thing that connects us. It's how we are, how we speak, what we say. Everything matters, So yes, we've had some glitches, and Vandana, I can sort of hear you in and out, but it's okay. We're doing the best we can do with what we have,
Correct?
Absolutely, and thank you, Alex. Thank you for sharing. And I can understand because even I'm not able to hear Darshan pretty clearly, so I understand what was going on with you. Probably you're not able to hear me clearly as well, but I can see that our guests and our viewers, they totally enjoyed it and they took a lot from the session. And
Terrific.
there's so much that all people who are watching they gain out of it. So thank you again, Alex, for joining us and gracing us with your. Thank you, Darshan, for this platform.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Darshan. I appreciate it. Thank you, Vandana. I appreciate it. And thank you to all the viewers and listeners.
Thanks a lot.
Beautiful.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.